Origami Step by Step by Robert Harbin. The Scorpion by Patricia Crawford. I'm Nathaniel Kennedy with Origami4Peace.org. Today we are going to be folding The Scorpion, which is authored by Patricia Crawford. Now the first thing we want to do, it really helps if you use a metallic sheet of paper. It's a design that takes several tries, so your first couple attempts you may want to just use regular old origami paper. But once you want it to come out really clean and you've got the practice, you really want to start with metallic for several reasons. One of which is a metallic paper holds the folds a lot better. So anyway, the first fold I'm going to make is I'm folding it in half, inside out, into a triangle. Now what I want to do is just work on the very tip right here. This is to make sure we get a really clean fold. So now just the tip, I'm going to grind, go over to the other side. I want to do the same thing. Because even with a piece of paper that's perfectly square, sometimes these diagonal folds can be the trickiest to get it to line up perfect at the ends. And it's one of those things where in other simpler origami forms, it doesn't really matter so much. But with the Scorpion, what's going to happen is the foundation of the whole figure, which is these first four folds, won't quite hold right, and you'll end up with a botched Scorpion that you won't be able to finish. Now I'm just hoping I don't make any mistakes that are going to screw that up for me. So the big tip is just squeeze the tip so that you can get it so there's no overlap, like right there or there. You know, I mean, may sound like something easy and simple, but sometimes the very first or the very couple first folds that you make can be the hardest in a way. Now I just folded the paper inside out, twice down each diagonal. Now I'm going to fold the vertical and the horizontal. Basically fold it into a rectangle. Same thing here, I want to be pretty careful that I get this fold to line up. It's not quite as important as the diagonals though. I fold that. So now what this gives us is what's known as the square base. So it'll fold right into a square. Now what we want to do is take this square base that we've just folded and we want to turn it into the frog base. Now, even this early in folding the Scorpion, it is really important that you have a pen, a pencil, a chopstick, even a small screwdriver like I've got right now for the job. And what you use it for is when there's a tight fold, you can go into it and loosen it open a little bit and I can push it all the way to the tip to help keep it from crinkling as we're folding it back in. Okay, just like that. The frog base is something simple enough, especially if you're just simply folding a frog, that you can usually just do all that with your finger and not worry about it. But what happens, especially with the metallic paper, if I don't get in there this way, it'll crinkle up near the end as I'm trying to flatten it all out like it is right now. You notice I've got to give the tool some credit for this coming out clean right here. So now I'll fold this over so that I can fold up the next flap. And you want to try and keep this all tight and together, because if you don't, it'll be off and it'll screw up the whole rest of the figure. Either you'll be able to finish it, but a lot of the folds will be way off base, or it'll get so bad that you can't even finish it. Okay, I'll fold this over one more time. Let's flap out. So we got 2 down, 2 to go. Because this is so tight together, that's where a tool is better than just using your finger. Way down to the end. And now we'll go into a squash fold. As I was saying, when we do this, we want to make sure everything's lined up really tight down here at the bottom. The more complex the figure, the more important it is that you have your first couple of folds as accurate as you can possibly do. This last one, now it's tightening up here enough. I do need the screwdriver. Get in all the way to the center, back. Now collapses into the frog base right here. Kennedy, Folding the Scorpion by Patricia Crawford. We were at the Santa Cruz Public Library a little earlier, but had to take a break and come to Starbucks because of the time that they closed. So now we're back, and right down here at the diagram is the frog base that we're at. Notice the diagram and the figure look the same. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and petal fold up. This is also how the frog starts. Now I petal fold that up, get a good view on this, zoom in. Now I'm folding right here so that I get a straight parallel line where the margin is, and there will be a margin, but I don't leave much of a margin because the tighter we can fold this, the better it comes out. Also notice here, I'm rolling the fold into this. I'm rolling this part so it lines up with the center fold that you can see right there. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, a mirror image fold. Now notice this, because I didn't have this fold completely accurate, I can tug here and maybe push back a little bit to roll the edge of the fold back and forth until it comes out just fine. And noticed it got a little bit crinkled here, so it's important that I have a nice tool a pen works extremely well, but the screwdriver does too. But notice that with the screwdriver, it's a Phillips head, which works better. A flat head is a bad idea. But pen, pencil, chopstick, screwdriver, whatever, you just need a nice pointy tool to be able to work with this. So now, I'm gently going in here and getting the crinkle out. So now, I bring this part in. Oh, more crinkling. Fold. You see how important it is to have a tool. Your fingers just can't do the same work. And notice again, a little crinkling here. If I try to fold it down, it'll look ugly, but as long as I can get in and straighten that back out, we're golden. Now I'm folding this as parallel and as tight as I really can without overdoing it to the extent where it'll keep the figure from being able to complete. So now, there we go. That's all that's left of the crinkle. There's nothing there. Take a good look at that and notice step 3. Right there. Okay. Now the next step is we want to fold this over and over one more time so that it looks like this again. But note, on this side, I'm going to do the petal fold again, but I'm not going to do the petal fold on this side because it doesn't call for it. Pull this up. Best you can do is estimate and now I'm going to pull this side up too, even though we're supposed to leave it alone, just so that it's easier to... This right here, I want to roll into the center, all this way. Not quite done. Fold that down, and it looks just like that. Now we want to flip this over, and again. So now, as you can see, this side matches step 4 down here where the white is showing. But even then, it's asking us to fold the white up along this line. So what I'm going to do now, since I already got started on this side, I'm going to finish on this side. I roll all of this over. So we got the leg here one more time. Now it looks kind of like a kite at this point. But what I'm going to do is the bottom part, I want to fold up. I want to take the crease that I have here and line it up with the center crease here. And what we want to do is get as close as we can to the edges here without actually going over. I'm going to pull it down just a teeny tiny bit, and there we go. Now I flip this back over again, this flap, and again, till we get to the center. And now I'm going to flip on the other side, and I'm going to do all that same work here. So now here's the mirror image fold. where I bring this part up. This is called a petal fold, and this scorpion has like 1,000,000 petal folds before you're done. So this is just getting you warmed up. I want to fold that. This part is about to become the arm or the pincher here. So to make it look clean, we want to leave a very small margin to where it folds over in the center, so that it can continue folding over and of itself with the room for the folds to work. But there's still enough room. You'll see like a little bit of white on the inside of the guy on the scorpion's arm, for example. But we just do that, and then gently finesse the paper right into the center fold here. Get as close to it as you can, leaving an itty bitty margin, but not going over the line. It looks like that now. Now I can fold this back down, and now we just want to fold. We gotta take this flap under here, move it over, and then fold over one more time. So we got that kite again. We just want to fold this up, line it up to the crease right that runs all the way up. It's the center. And then I'm going to gently bring this down so that there's a teeny tiny bit of room before it hits the edge. But got that just about perfect. And now we're at this point. Flip over the flap, fold it over, and there. Now we're at the center. Now, if you take a good look, oh wait, one more step. What I want to do now is I want to fold this down, just as it shows in step 3 going to step 4. And then I want to fold this flap over like this, and take this edge, almost like we're making the head and tail of a crane in a way. I want to get that folded nice and tight. Just do not. You don't want to bounce the transaction, so to speak. Fold that over, and I'm going to do that on the other side. Just like that. And I'm going to fold it back over. Oh, I want to unfold this now. Fold this back so we're at this point. Now it looks even more like step 4. Now what I'm going to do, the next fold, which is why we pre-folded this early, the next fold I want to focus on is actually step 19. Right here, which is almost to the very end. They show you fold this in so it tucks in, but to get it at this point you have to unfold a lot more work to get it to where you can fold this flap in. So I like to do it as early as I can. Now what I want to do is this fold and this fold meets this flap here. These 2 points I want to come and fold up so that it folds right to that. Just like that. Now, I'm going to unfold all that hard work, bring this flap and fold it back over. Now the tip here where we got the crease, we want to reverse fold onto that crease, just like that. Now I fold the flap back down. I fold this over where we were going to make the crease before, and I refold it into place. While we're at this point in the flap, this is the folding that I'm going to do that is steps 5 and 6 all done at the same time. Now I fold the other side into the center. And notice there's a small margin going down the center here. That's so the paper can fold over without crinkling in on itself. See that? That's really important. Now that we've folded both of these in, we also want to fold the tops in. And this top part is what it's telling us to do on step 6 before we flip it over. Fold all that in. Now, I want to fold that back. See how on this side it looks like step 6, and then on this side we're still back at step 4. So I want to fold this over and do a mirror image of all the folds we just did. That. Then we want to fold the top in, and notice the top is going to overlap the bottom here. So in step 19, if we were to do it at step 19, we would have had to unfold this and this on both sides to free up the flap so we could fold it down and tuck it in. Once you get better at doing origami, you will find that very often with diagrams, you don't need to go in the exact same order that the diagram goes on. You just need to do all the equivalent folds. But it's better when you look at a diagram, don't try to take it too literally. Just try to see what it's telling you to do. Alright, all that work. So now step 6 again, but all that's folded in, and the flap folded in from step 19. All that's done there. We are back, and now we are going to be finishing this up. Now if you see in step 6, which is where we are, it says we want to flip over the figure, and it's also time for us to flip over the diagram. Now, what this step is telling us to do is just this. Is we want to fold up this flap so that now I'm opening it up with the tool. And I want to keep pushing it in until it opens up all the way to the end. Now, I can push it down and very carefully do a sink fold. Now notice this center line, I'm lining up with the pinchers right, not with the pinchers, the arms that'll form the pinchers right here. Get all that lined up. You want to get that perfect, or as damn close as you possibly can. Now I'm going to fold this flap over so I can bring up the other one that we want to sink, a mirror image fold. Now I want to open that up and try to zoom in right here at the tip. My hand's a little bit in the way, so you might have to get it at a different angle.
Yeah.
But I bring this in all the way to the end, and now I pull it out. Actually, if I open it up this way, that'll help too. Now I can do a sink fold from here, bring all of this down, line it up, now I want to fold back to the center so that it looks like step 8. Now the first thing step 8 is going to have us do is yet another petal fold. There's lots of them in the scorpion. I want to gently bring all this up so that this part right here I can line up down here. Gently get it into the center. And now up here, see this, the center fold? There's this much space between where I want this folded and where it actually is. But I just gently work with that. Bring it all the way to the tip. Now, it's a good idea to pinch all that down and then bring it back up and do the mirror image of the other side. I'm going to fold this in nice and tight, just as long as nothing overlaps. Now, I have finished the first part of getting to step 9. See, we got these two flaps and all this stuff here, but this right here is the same as this in step 9. We're still on step 8 though. So now what I want to do, fold this over so I can bring up the other flap. Now I want to go in with my tool and open it up all the way to the end. Keep pushing in until it won't go any further. Now I can use this to open like that to open it up a little bit, make it a little easier to sink. There we go. Sink fold. Just like that. Now I want to fold all this stuff over to get to the last one. And here I am trying to focus the camera mostly here. It's a little hard with the, yeah. So see, they move the tool in till it opens up right at the end and then it won't go any further. And move this around a little bit to open it. Now, yet another sink fold. Trying to get this to sink just right. You see where it all lines up right there. And then I can fold this all down. The reason it's so important to use a tool and to get it all the way to the end here is if I didn't do all that, this would have very likely crinkled up. And that could be a dead end for that try of the scorpion. It's going to take several tries to get this guy right. Watch this video a bunch of times because the first try you won't finish it, but once you've learned how everything in it works, it'll be a lot easier to finish. And now I'm just, there it is, center. Alright, now if you look, It is just like step 9. Right here.
Zoom in.
Yep. Okay. Now the next step, notice there's a couple pieces here. There's 2 that come down like that. We can ignore those, but this fold that goes straight across, that's what we want to fold on for the next sink fold.
Okay.
So now, I take this little flap right here, and I open them up. I want to take my fingernail and hold down on that line to get it to fold right there. And then I just gently bring this down. It's starting to crinkle a little. This is where having a tool is so important. The Phillips works fine because it goes to a pointy tip. A flathead screwdriver would be useless for this. Now, just carefully fold all that in. Just like that. Now we're going to do the other side, the mirror image fold of that. Hold down right where that piece we want to get on is. Gently fold this over. And even right here, I think this is going to become the pinchers of the finished origami scorpion. So take a quick look over here. There's the pinchers, the mouth of the scorpion, right there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this right here is what's going to become the pincher. So it's really important that you get that to where there's you get right up on the line that you can hold it to, but you don't go over. Okay, so you just bring this one down. And there we go. And fortunately, I was able to finish this fold without having to use a tool. So now we have finished step 9, and we're on to step 10. Get a nice close-up on that.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next step for this, right here, we're doing yet another petal fold. We're going to pull this up. Just like that. And you just got to gently finesse the paper into shape. Sometimes getting in here and pinching it a little or tugging these apart, you can work where a fold lands and make it so that you get a fold accurate every single time, even though when you first pull up, you might not be doing it quite right. Or you can make it so that it's accurate even when you start out with the rough estimate that's where a fold goes. It's not quite accurate. A lot of that applies to the new way, to the way I fold crayons.
To the way what?
The way that I fold paper crayons.
Okay.
Is that I pull everything up, and there's tons of pre-folding that is shown in a diagram for how to do the crane. Lots of books, lots of ones I've found online and everything. It's a traditional method that goes back to Japan for a while, but I remember one day I was at Borders Book Cafe, back when they still existed, and I saw a Japanese gentleman sitting there ripping out squares from a newspaper, folding crane after crane, and I walked up to him and I retaught a Japanese man how to fold the crane. I taught him how to do it more accurately, or more efficiently. Okay, so now we want to fold this down. We want to fold this flap down. Now we want to do another petal fold right up in here. So I just keep pinching in like this until I get it about as deep as I can go. And then I gently fold this over and I finesse all of this into place. See, this is where I'm going to have to adjust this fold a little bit to get it more accurate. Pinch here, even get the screwdriver and undo yet another kink. Fold this in. Okay. Getting this in tight and as accurate as I can. And as you can tell, I'm doing a lot of focus on this and kinked up again, which is why having a tool is so important. There we go. That one took a little more work than I thought it would, but I finally got it right. Now to the other side, we want to do the same thing. Now I gotta be gentle here because if I do any of this with too much force, I'm risking ripping the paper. I'm just taking my time because I want to get this fold just right. There we go. Alright. Now fold this down, and now all of this petal folding that we just did matches up with step 12, but we have not created the legs, the rear legs that are shown in step 12. We got this whole bottom part to match up here. Okay. Now, the next step for creating the legs here, back in step 10, it's showing to like pinch the legs down and fold them out, which is a really ugly way of doing this. The way I'm about to do it, I did not learn from the diagram. I learned from doing this over and over and finding it through trial and error. So now this back to step 10 to 11, where we want to turn all this right here step 10 and 11, where we want to create the feet here, what we want to do is not this. We want to pre-fold this so that the edge here lines up with the crease right there. So pre-fold it just like this. So now it's going to look just like that. Now what we want to do is then unfold these, because we were just doing some pre-folding, and get them to stand up like that. Now the important part is I'm going to get in here with my tool. Okay, it'll be easier to start on this side. You want to get a tool to work in to the center here. Open this up. There we go. See what I'm doing now? Now I'm opening that up right here. Get a good view of that. Next, I'm going to gently do a sink fold or a squash fold to get started making the leg. So now it looks like this part of the leg. Now I want to get in on the other side that we've done the pre-fold to, and this is where the screwdriver doesn't have a sharp enough tip, and a good old-fashioned pen actually works even better. Now gently, let's zoom in. I'm gently trying to get right in between these two tiny flaps on the inside. This can, even with the tool, this can take some work. And right here, there we go. Now I can get it to open up. Okay. Back to that pre-fold. But now it's open. This is what we needed the tool to do to get that open. I gently squash it back down to make the mirror leg. So now the rear legs look just like that. Now we are going to do this part of step 11. And what this part is telling us to do is we just want to take this bottom here and fold it over just like that. There's one rear leg. Fold this up on the other side, and it's a little tweaked, but I'll try to fix it. There we go. Now it looks fine. So now we have the rear legs. Hello. We're back to the next chapter, and what we want to do is follow this where we're at step 12, and it's saying to this arrow to flip one side over until we get to here. Now this is step 13. Here's X right here, and basically what this is telling us to do is we want to grab point X and gently pull it out as much as we can, just like that. Now I want to start folding that in, and I want to keep tugging this out until it's at the point where it's anchored on these edges here. And gently take that. We want to make this one big, so it's coming out like that. And then I just gently, right about there. I pinch it together. Whoop! Got a little crank. There we go. Now that will be side A, and then B, the mirror of it. We want to keep rolling over. Okay, now we're at the center. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There we go, on the other side. Now we want to do that exact same thing in the other direction, or the mirror side. And I want to pull this out, again, as far as I can without ripping right here or right here. So you just got to, the trick is you just got to gently work it out, tugging like such, and then we pinch it together. Actually, this one's a lot larger, so I'm gonna do this some more. They look about the same, close enough. Now, see right here, after we get to step 15, repeat folds for the other side. What I like to do is each time I'm doing a fold on one of these steps, I do both sides at the same time. Not just like this and then flip it over to do them all on the other side. One of the reasons that is important is because if you do them at the same time, you get them to mirror each other a lot better, and it's harder to do that if you do one side completely and the other side completely. The legs on the scorpion are the #1 hardest part of the whole figure. So now right here, where we gotten before, we got Y for another leg, but here on X, right here, they make this look so easy. Oh, just fold this down and down here. That's not easy at all. You got to pull the whole thing apart just to make sure that it doesn't. Well, I'll show you what you got to do. I'm going to do this side first. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is fold down that rear leg like this, so it's not anchoring this flap anymore. And then I see that opened it up here on this side. In fact, the whole leg fold we did, I'm going to undo the whole thing just so it doesn't interfere. See, I fold this back down so it's like this, and then this flap will come open really easy. Now I want to come over to the other side, the other flap. So these two flaps right here, I want to pinch them together, and very gently I want to stretch out the whole figure until it looks like this. Now, because see right here, it's showing folding this over this flap edge, and when I first learned how to do this and I was going by the diagram, it would rip every single time. And I mean, you can even do it where it rips and still be able to finish the scorpion, but it's bad news. So now this petal fold we did and this petal fold we did, I'm going to unfold all that too. So now what I want to do, I'm going to bring this flap up just a little bit so I can kind of pinch over right here. Now I'm going to fold this down very gently, fold this down so that it lines up going down the leg. crinking right there. Magic Uncrinked tool. Now, gently bring this side in. So it looks like this, and you see where it's going to go over on here. I go to the other side, and I do the same thing. Gently, very gently, even this got a little crinked too, so this is just me wanting to straighten it out first. I didn't do much, but it's worth a shot. Now I want to take this edge and carefully fold it into the center of this leg. This is the hardest part of the entire scorpion because of all the work we have to do to get it to fold over. Hardest part, and it just shows it like that without any further explanation. Now, I want to fold, I got to pinch in first so it goes closer to the center. I want to grab it here and here so I can pinch it back together. And there, now we have another leg. So now that all that's done, I can fold this back up. Oh, here we go. Here's there it is. It folded in right here. Folded in right there, and that is this down part right here. In the okay. Now we'll pull this out. I'm gonna just do all the work I did to create this leg in the first place and just do it all over again. So now, back to using the tool. Open this up. So I can crease it back down, fold it back up. Actually, this piece is a lot of work. I'm kind of stepping back, trying to let's see here. I don't want that overlapping that much. I'm going to bring this back. Well, there's our leg. And basically what I'm trying... There we go. There, now when I pull... It took a little extra work just now to get this flap part that's folding down in here to stop overlapping on this. Now I fold up. Fold it there. Back in place. See what I mean? The legs on this guy are the hardest part of the whole figure. So now I'm going to do a mirror over that. And maybe just with a little bit of practice, just right now that I just had, I'll get this side done a little bit better. But again, those back legs, we've got to unfold it just simply because we want to be able to open this flap here. And then I want to grab over here, pull it all apart, including these petal folds down, or no, whatever, these folds right here. And now I want to come in here, flatten this out. Flatten this one out. So there's nothing for it to rip on. And then gently trying to fold this in, going into the center. How much time are we at?
11 minutes, 55 seconds.
Okay. Now, I want to get back inside here. This up. Now, I want to fold all this stuff back into place. And there, now there's our other leg. And now, you just got to go back and refold all the stuff that we unfolded in the process of flattening out the figure. Now, bring this up. There we go. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4 legs. There's going to be a total of 8. Okay, let's see, where are we at? Got the rear legs, step 13, step 14. Okay, we're pretty much still at the finish of 13 here. Oh yeah, 14, we just folded this in. I haven't even done Y yet. We just did X. This X part is the absolute most difficult part of the whole scorpion. So with that said, we're going to take a break. The saga continues. We've just done the hardest legs, which is the hardest part of the whole figure, right here, and now we're about to continue. So we've just accomplished step 13. And so what I want to do is roll over. There's the leg. Roll over one more, so that we see it coming out here, just like the X right here, to this part. And the pinchers are there. Whoops. Wrong, right, okay. Now, starting from here, we flip over, there's the leg, go over one more, and then we're right here. It's telling us to make this leg, which we just did. And now, Y is this part right here. So what I want to do is hold it in. And I'm going to grabbing it so that this part and this part where the edges are, so it's close in, so I can, it's the most convenient way to hold the paper when making this leg. I'm going to pinch it in, but I'm going to bring it out. And while I'm at it, I'm going to collapse this inside. which is a lot of what we did on the that we just did on the other leg, but this one's a little easier. Still difficult though. And now we've got another leg. I want to flip, go to the other side, flip this over, the leg we just made. Here we go. And again, I want to grab like right here so I can pinch this in like that, fold it into place. Now, I want to bring this in to tighten the leg. This takes a lot of practice. You're not going to get it on the first try. Probably not. If you're getting this on the first try, I'm very impressed. Alright. Now, back to the center just to see how we're doing. Okay, now with these new legs I just made, let's see. Another little crank. A pen works best for this, but I didn't have a pen on me when we came to Starbucks here. But, alright, fold that in. There we go. Now it looks clean. And the other one, same thing. I'm going to just try to clean this up just a little bit. Pull it out. So there, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs. Now, up here in step 15, it's showing us making the very front legs. Now, to the part that we're at, right here, is this. And now, I'm going to grab this front leg, try and pull it up and out just about as much as I can, just right about there. And now, I want to fold all this together, bring it up so these are the front legs. I've just made that. I'm going to go and try and tighten them up a little bit. Actually, this is... No, I'm not going to do all that extra work on this leg, especially since it's the front leg that does not touch the ground when our scorpion is standing. And the main functionality of this particular leg is just looks, and even more so just accuracy, because a real scorpion has 8 legs, not 6. So there we go, the front legs. Okay, counting them all: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have just we've made all the legs, and that is the hardest part of the whole scorpion. Now we are going to be at step 16, which is telling us to fold these edges in just to make it a little cleaner, because if we don't do that, we're going to have this little bit of overhang right here. On one of your first tries, you can even skip what I'm about to do, because it still looks pretty good even without all this folded in. But after a couple tries, you want to get into the habit of doing what I'm about to do, which is I take this one flap right here that's hanging over this edge, and I fold it in. just like, whoops. Okay, oh yeah, right here. You want to fold it in just like that. And I go to the other side, fold the flap that's on the other end in two. Let's see. And it's asking us to get into here. Actually, if we unfold this again, so this opens up, I'm going to have a much easier time folding this in. Let me see, I want to make sure, yeah, the leg does fold fine if I do that. Okay, so we want to fold that in. Open this flap here. Fold the next part in. Now, fold this. Get as good of a view as this as you can. Right here, I'm trying to fold this in. So I pull all that out. And you see this is where one of the legs was made, which makes this even a little more difficult. So I gently want to finesse the paper down. Okay, now we want to open up here, and we're just basically tightening all this up, trying to do it without interfering with the hard work of the legs themselves. Now, unfold that leg again so we can, it anchors the flap, so you unfold it, that unlocks it. Pull all this in. Fold this part in. Okay, now see right here, it looks clean coming down here. There's not the overlap. But on this side, there still is some. So I want to open this up. Fold this part in. Okay. Now I want to come back and create these front legs again. Oh yeah, and the rear legs, fold them back down. Okay, that looks like about as clean as we can really hope for. Now, after all that work, let's see, okay, this legs should be brought down a little bit. This one can come out a little bit. You got this and this. The rear leg, 1, 2, 3, and 4 Okay, it is there. I'm going to pull this leg back just a little bit so I can actually try to take the front leg and just get it to go down a little bit. Just like that. And here's the other one. I'm going to bring it forward and fold it down just a little bit. Often though, these very front legs that give us a total of 8 instead of 6 can be kind of a lost cause. There we go. There's the back. Now we just finished step 16. We're back. The saga continues. Now, the next step, we just finished 16 here, so we simply want to go to the next page in the diagram. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not an oncoming train. Okay, so... Oh yeah, 17 was a little more of the folding the edges in. I got all that done. So, without even looking at this diagram, this part, we're done. We're moving on to 18. And 18 here shows all our legs poking out. And these are the front legs. I don't know how the hell to get them to come out that far. Now look at this one. Here's those front legs that are just for looks. How they got them to come out this far and be so skinny, I don't know. Just because it's a diagram. So now we flip that over. And now we are at step 19. And the part where we fold this in and under has already been done. So now the only thing we need to do is fold the arms out so that it looks like step 20 here. And then step 20, there's a whole lot to it. It's all the finishing, finessing of the scorpion. But it counts it all as one step, which it isn't really. See, now I'm opening this up.
Yeah.
So that I can grab arm, bring it out. Just like that. Now I want to fold this out. Alright. Now it looks like this. In fact, I'm showing the cutoff here, but that's the part we're on. Now, even as it says in the diagram here, with these arrows coming out, what that means is we want to open this up and flatten it. Just like that. Now, to make the little pinchers, claws, nippers, whatever the heck you want to call them, the arms. You could even call these the scorpion hands, but that's what I'm going to be working on next. And zoom in on this. What I want to do, and this is one part where the screwdriver does not work anywhere near as well as a pen. And that's all I got with me is a screwdriver.
But all the batteries run out. Should I press OK for battery saving?
Yes. It's still counting, right? Okay. Now we open up just like that. And now that we have these parts right here on the outside, I want to gently, very, very gently pinch both parts on the outside and then pull it apart. Just like that. Now I pinch this back together, and there is the claw, the hand, if you will. Now, pinching my nail right there because that's about the point where I want to fold it back on the inside. And then we're going to do a kind of a zigzag fold here. Fold that just a little bit. Pinch that into place. There we go. Now I want to repeat all that on the other side. Very gently, in the edge of a thumbnail, a fingernail will work really good. A pen with kind of a sharp but round small end really helps with this kind of stuff too. The end of a Phillips head screwdriver doesn't really do the same level of justice, but even if you end up using a screwdriver, you want to use a small screwdriver that's really thin. You don't want to use a big fat one. Now I very gently pull all this apart. Then as I fold it over and I fold this back out, it'll come in. Now I want to do another zigzag fold. Come on. There we go. Sort of. Not nearly as big as the other one, but there we go. Good enough. Okay. Now, what I want to do, we've just done this part where it shows making the nippers, I guess it is. You see right here, it even refers to them as nippers. Folding all this in, all that hard work. You know, I mean, it looks like they did it a little different than me, but I've improvised as best I can. Now, I very gently want to fold the scorpion in half like this so that I can grab the tail and bring it up at a nice 90-degree angle. Then I even fold it in a little bit like this. I'll bring it out again a little bit, kind of like that. And then I want to bring it all the way down. So there it is before I'm done. Now the next step here, I want to grab this very top flap. Use your fingernail is the best way to do it. I want to get into the very top one here. Stretch it out a little. So now it looks like that. That's a part that I can grab. And now, unfolding it a little bit just for the sake, I want to do the same thing on the bottom flap. Fold that out. This one. Now, I want to grab all of this as best I can and gently gently tug it apart. So it's going to look like that. Now what I do is I very gently, very carefully bring this back down, like that. Now what I want to do is grab the end where the pincher is, or where the stinger is, I mean. Grab the end where the stinger is, and I'm rotating around and bringing it tight into the stinger. And note, this right here is the very center of the paper. Now, the legs have already started to work themselves into the right position. Now what I want to do is just grab all these legs. Let's start with the rear legs. And I just finesse the legs down so that we can balance on them. See, if we want this front leg to be able to balance, we've got to kind of bring this other leg out a little like that. Oh, and all this, especially the legs, it's not even mentioned in the diagram. Doesn't say a thing. You're just supposed to figure that out on your own. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the stinger down like that. As I push it forward, bring it back down. There we go. Now, I'm going to bring the legs out. Now let's see. It doesn't balance yet. Now I just need to very gently push it down like that. And now I'm going to bring the rear legs further down so it has more power on the back to hold it in place. Almost. Now I just need to get these legs to point down just a little bit more. Now he stands. Okay. Pause.
Pause.